everyone, my name is Mary Beth and I am a fiber artist, meaning I love to crochet, do macrame, string art, anything to do with fiber. So today's video is for absolute beginners and it's going to be very easy hopefully for you. And I want to say, if this is a new hobby you're interested in, you've picked a really good one. It's for crochet, today's crochet. And the reason why I say that is because to get started, it's very inexpensive, and then if you decide it's not for you, at least you didn't, lose out on too much money. So let's get started. So I just wanted to really quick show you, I've got a couple different yarns here. We're going to start with what's called a medium weight or a number 4. Yeah, so sorry, my camera was doing something weird. And the reason I say that, if I were brand new, I would want you to start with a medium weight, which is, like I said, it's also called a number 4, because I just think it's a good weight to start versus something really thin or something really chunky, just to at least learn the basics. This is called, what is this called? Soft and Shiny, and I believe it is Yarn Lane. It's just a brand by, I don't know if it was Michael's or Walmart, but you can go to Walmart. You could buy a skein. This is called a skein. And this happens to have, how many yards does this have? 311 yards. It's a medium 4. And they always give you a suggested size crochet hook to use. And in this case, it says a 5.5 millimeter. Okay, which is an I, USI. All right, so it's always good to use the suggested size hook when you're starting out. And when you want to get crazy and break rules, you can use other sizes. All right, so let's get started. Today, we're going to learn just some basic things to get you started. So we got our yarn. The next thing we need is a crochet hook. And again, you can get very inexpensive crochet hooks to start off with, very inexpensive, either online or just go to Walmart, honestly, or somewhere like that, or any Kraft hobby store. Just get, these are called, I think, a boil, I don't know how to pronounce it, but just an aluminum, hook. It's, oops, there you go, you heard it now, is totally fine, okay? And then, but there are fancy hooks, there's all different kinds, but don't worry about that. And then the only other thing is a little pair of scissors, just to cut the end off when you're done. And then it helps to have a yarn needle, which I'll show you what that looks like, to tie in your ends at the end. However, if you're just learning, I wouldn't even worry about this. They're very inexpensive, but you can do it even without a yarn needle, so that's not that big of a deal. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to start with an I9. That's what it recommended, which is also 5.5 millimeters, okay? So we're going to use the hook size that it tells us to use. And the first thing you want to do is get this yarn onto your hook. And the way we're going to do that is with what we call a slip knot, okay? And so to do a slip knot, the way I do it anyway, is I take the yarn and I'm going to wrap it around my 3 fingers here. Once and twice. I take the yarn and I just wrap it around my fingers like that and kind of cross it over. I use my index and my thumb. I go into this circle and I just pull that tail, see, up through, but not all the way through, and you kind of just pull it like that and you have a slip knot. I'm going to do it one more time, and you can always, by the way, slow down the speed on this video. If you're on a mobile device, I think it's at the top right, there's 3 little dots, and you hit on that and it has something about speed, normal, you can go slower or faster or whatever. So I just wanted to point that out, or you could pause, rewind, watch it again on any of this video. Okay, so a slip knot, I'm just going to wrap it around just so I have a loop and I kind of cross over like that. And then I pull the loop off and I put my index and thumb right through this loop, and then I just pull the tail through, but I'm actually pulling the working yarn up so that I have a slip knot. And there are a lot of ways to do it. That's just the way I've always done it. And then So you can search on YouTube if you find an easier way. It's whatever works for you. So then you just take your hook and you put the slip knot on your hook and then you tighten it up by pulling the strings like that, okay? So now we've got the yarn on our hook. Yay! So I'm going to talk about how to hold the yarn. Everybody has their own way, and as you start, it's going to feel awkward. But once you get going, you'll find a position of the yarn on your hands that feels comfortable to you. So the way I hold my yarn isn't like, you don't have to hold it that way. You're going to find what works for you, but I'm going to give this to you so that you can start there and see if that works for you as well. Okay? So the way I hold my yarn is, and now, oh my God, what is happening? Like, it's hard to teach it. So I hold my yarn like this. So what I do is I take my pinky, I put the yarn over my pinky like that, under these 3 fingers. Actually, let me do that again. Under 2 fingers and over my index. So it's over my pinky, under my ring and middle finger, and then over my forefinger. Okay, that's how I do it. And then I turn my hand to go this way, so the yarn's going to be pulled like that, okay? And I can control tension with my fingers. Now, again, a gazillion different ways to do it. This is just what I do. All right, as far as the hook goes, you're going to hold it, again, whatever's comfortable for you. I tend to hold it more like a pencil, but people hold it all different ways. So start, one way and just see if it feels comfortable. And again, give yourself some time, because I think any way you start is going to feel kind of awkward because you're not used to this. You haven't done it before. But then with time, you'll discover what's comfortable. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is called a chain. Okay, so when you do a chain, you're going to, I got to make sure I'm close enough. So bear with me here, because I think that's is that as far as I can go? Okay, we'll see if this works. So you have your hook like this. You're going to go under the yarn like that. And that's called a yarn over. And then you're going to make sure your hook grabs that yarn and go through the slip knot hole that was on our hook. Sorry about that, fell off. And that is a chain. And then you have a loop on your hook as well. So go under, turn your hook around so that you're pulling that yarn with your hook, and just simply go through the loop that is on your hook. There's 2. Yarn over. There's 3. Yarn over. Notice my hook. I go under and I twist it to the side. Now it's on the side because I want the head of the hook that's going to grab that yarn, okay? And go through the hole, which is the loop that's on your hook. See, we have a loop on our hook, yarn over, and pull it through the loop on your hook. Okay? That is called a chain. Oh my gosh, a chain stitch. Okay? And then the way to count your chain stitch, or how many you have, and again, I'm really hoping that this is close enough. I may have to readjust a little bit, but you'll see that these are little V's. Each V is 1, okay? So in my case, right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do a couple more. There's 9, 10. Okay? So we have 10 chains. All right, what do we do now? So let's learn how to do a single crochet. Okay? So you got your 10 chains, and you can do as long of a chain as you want. It's up to you. But to practice, just maybe do swatch sizes, until you get used to it. It's up, just whatever you'd like to do. Okay, so a single crochet. God, I'm really hoping that this is close enough. Okay, what you're gonna do is see these V's that we talked about. The second V is what we're gonna go into, but I wanna point out there's a top loop and a bottom loop to each V. There's a top and a bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. I'm hoping you're seeing that. We're gonna go through the top loop of not the first one, but the second one, okay? That's how we're gonna start off. So we're gonna put our hook, just put your hook straight through there. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Now you're gonna yarn over and you're gonna pull up only through one, that first loop, like that, and now you have 2 loops on your hook again. And then you're gonna pull over, or yarn over and pull your yarn through both, okay? And now you're left with 1 again. All right, so let's do it again. So the next V, the top loop of that V, I'm just gonna simply put the crochet hook through the top, okay? And I'm gonna yarn over and I'm gonna pull that yarn through that top loop, and I'll have 2 loops on my hook. I'm then gonna yarn over and go through both, and then I have 1. Okay, so we've just done 2 single crochets. Let's do it again. Put your hook through the top loop, yarn over, go through that top loop, and pull that yarn through. And you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through both. Okay? So again, I'm just going to finish up these that we have here. Put my hook through the loop, yarned over, pulled it through, yarn over, pull through the 2. And if you hear a little fan next to me, I'm so sorry. You are not going to believe this. Our air conditioning broke. And it's really, 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 really hot. So yay for us. And the person's coming tomorrow. So we're just kind of dying over here. It's so hot and humid. So yeah. So now I'm at my very last stitch. Sometimes that's difficult. Just make sure you see that last V and go through that top loop and do your last single crochet. Okay, let's show you what we got. If I lay it flat, this is what it looks like. If I kind of roll it up, these are the top of our single crochets. They are also V's. V, V, so you can count them. Okay? Now, what we want to do is another row of them, right? And I'm going to show you. Now, this was the row that we did from the chain and then we single crochet. Now I'm going to do another row of single crochets that are on top of a row of single crochets. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so what you want to do at the end of your row is you want to chain 1. Remember, so how to chain is you just yarn over and pull it through the loop on your hook. And then we're going to turn our work, which just means turn it this way, okay? Now, I'm right-handed, so this is for right-handing. I apologize, I don't know how to teach left-hand crochet. All right, so we chained 1. Now what we're going to do is go into this first V. See that V? Go into the first V. Pull, yarn over and pull that loop up. And there you go. You've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and go through 2. Now, again, this time, instead of just going through the top loop of the V or the back loop of the V, you're going to go through both, okay? So when you go through both, that whole V, I'm trying to make sure I show you this right. That whole V is on your hook, okay? So it looks like you have 3 loops. Then you yarn over, pull through just the V, and then you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and go through. The reason it's different is because we're doing a single crochet on a single crochet. The only time you go through just that top loop of the V is when you're doing it on the base chain that you started, okay? Unless some pattern calls for something different, but with beginning crochet, that would be it, okay? So go through the whole V, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, go through the 2 on your hook, okay? And that is all you have to do. And then remember, when you get to the end, you just want to chain one and then turn your work and just start all over again. And you can go back and forth, and make, you know, any size, shape, whatever size, I should say, swatch. Now, if you use cotton yarn, this is acrylic. By the way, I should have mentioned that. I'm just using plain acrylic yarn, which is very popular. But you can also get cotton yarn. And if you want to do cotton yarn, there's a 4-weight cotton yarn. Do the exact same thing and do as many as you want. You can make a little washcloth. Anything to do with water, like if you're going to use it as a washcloth or a hand towel or a pot holder or anything like that because of the heat, use cotton. That's don't use acrylic for that. But yeah, you can go back and forth, chain one, turn, go back and forth, and you'll have a nice size swatch, or like I said, a little dishcloth. Okay? All right, so I'm going to keep going back and forth and just make a little swatch here, and then I'm going to show you how to cut your yarn off. We call it tying off. How to tie off from your piece because your piece is done. And then I'll show you how to get rid of these little loose ends that we have. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got, I've got my little swatch here. Right here, it's just small. Again, but you can keep going, make a little washcloth, whatever you want. So I'm going to show you how to tie off. So I just ended my last row, and what I'm going to do is, it looks like it's basically chaining one. I'm going to chain and pull that loop like that out a little bit. Take your scissors and then just cut your yarn. Okay, and then pull that through and just kind of tighten it. Okay, so we have the tail from when we started, and now we have a tail from when we just ended. Okay, and now we want to do what we call hiding our tails. All right, or tying in any loose ends, whatever you want to call it. And this is where a yarn needle does come in handy. And all you're going to do is take your yarn. I'm going to put it on my yarn needle really quick. Okay, and I'm going to take this yarn that's on my needle, and I'm going to kind of weave in. This is my back side, just kind of, but either side, just weave it in, pull it through, but don't go like up and down like you're sewing. Just on this back end, just going through some of these loops on the back side. Pull it. You don't have to pull super tight yet. And I like to go different directions, because if you go multiple directions, it's not gonna, it'll be impossible for this thing to come unraveled, right? So you just weave in some ends, that's all, like this, on the back side, a few times, that's it. And then when I get ready to cut that, what I'll do is I will then kind of pull it snug a little bit, like that, and I'll cut pretty darn close. Don't cut your piece though, and then pull it back out, and it's sunken in there, it's hidden in there, you'll never know, and it will not, it's not going to come undone. You're good now. So we have one more end. I'm going to do that. Same thing. I'm just going to take it and pick a few little spots where I'm going to just go through a couple of the loops on the back here. I'm not going in, out, the other side, back in. I'm not doing that. I'm only doing it on the back of my work, which this is my front, but it doesn't matter. These both pretty much look identical. So whatever side you want to sew your ends in, and just go through it a few times, then pull it kind of snug on the last one, trim it off, and then pull it back out and reshape it, and there you go. There's your cute little swatch of single crochet. Very cute. And again, you could have made it bigger, make a little washcloth. How cute, right? And this is just single crochet. So in the next video, part 2, we are going to learn how to do double crochet. We're also going to learn how to do triple crochet. Or excuse me, let me back up. We're going to learn how to do half double crochet, and triple crochet. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. They kind of build on each other. So half double crochet, and triple crochet. All right, well, until then, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody.